Street foods in the streets, on food parks, squares, or markets are ubiquitous around the world and throughout history. Because food is a significant part of any region's culture and tradition, let this short video provide you a social science perspective on street foods, reflecting lifestyle, race, or religion, which illustrates immense cultural diversity and economic significance both of developing and developed countries. People from different socio-cultural backgrounds have different food habits and preferences. The types of foods, ingredients, preparations, and preservations vary among cultures, and easily, people define their identities through the food they eat. Street food is the very essence of a country or region's tradition that wherever you go in the world, the food of the streets mirrors the ways of ordinary people, each recipe reflecting lifestyle, race, and religion. It is more than a cheap source of nourishment. It tells stories of shifting populations, trade connections, and evolving identities. Key ingredients proclaim a melting pot of cultures, while culinary customs and techniques give a place its individuality. From the richest to the poorest background, the story of street food is one of poverty, struggle, and enterprise. Some dishes are iconic, others unknown beyond their street corner, but all blend the flavors of local history, economy, and politics, and they are given extra tastiness by very relevant modern issues like famine, obesity, ethnic rivalry, and the environment. So whether you are a tourist or local, join me on a unique global exploration of street fare. There is an infinite variety of foods available on streets. On a walk down the streets of Penang, Hanoi, Jakarta, Bangkok, or Manila at different times of the day, one might encounter skewers of chicken, beef or pork satay, sausages, sweet or savory roti, fried bananas, glutinous rice cakes, grilled squid, fried or fresh spring rolls, dumplings, fried locusts, salty or sweet fried donuts, warm soybean milk, hot ginger tea, noodle soups, and rice porridge. Even roast suckling pig was available on street if you knew where to find it. More recently, there are miniature fruits made of bean paste formed into fruit shapes, colored and dipped in jelly, which can be purchased from street vendors in Bangkok. Small Vietnamese pancakes with sweet or salty fillings and canam croc, coconut puddings made in special trays, competed for sale on the street with sweet pastry buns filled with vanilla and chocolate custard that seem to be imitations of the 1960s dessert in some expensive Chinese restaurants. While in the Philippines, street foods won't be complete without a chicken feet, grilled internal animal organs like isaw, Betamax, and the infamous unhatched duck egg called balut. According to SISRACON, in Southeast Asia, as in most parts of the world, the very best local foods are found in the households and not on restaurants. But all countries have different and active traditions of street foods, takeout foods, and as well as other interesting places for drinks and snacks. So this video again reviews some of the region's opportunities for public eating away from home. Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations defines street foods as ready-to-eat foods prepared and sold by vendors and hawkers, especially in the streets and other similar places. Southeast Asia is actually famous for its street foods. According to streetfood.org, about 40% of the daily diet of the consumers in the global south is actually street food. A little later, UN's FAO estimated that there are about 2.5 billion people in the world who are eating street food daily, cementing its place as a staple food source in the world.
Street food is a delicious gateway into new cultures and histories. Street food often reflects traditional cultures. We can see too much diversity in the raw materials as well as in the preparation of street food beverages, snacks, and meals. Vendor stalls are usually located outdoors or under a roof that is easily accessible from the street. They have low-cost seating facilities. Their marketing success depends exclusively on location and word-of-mouth promotion. Street food businesses are usually owned and operated by individuals or families, but benefits from their trade extend throughout the local economy. For instance, vendors buy their fresh food locally, thus linking their enterprises directly with small-scale farms and market gardens.
But street food is actually not a new phenomenon. Small and fried fishes were common in the marketplaces of ancient Greece. Now, in ancient Rome, poor residents were seen eating street foods composed of chickpea soup, grain paste, and bread. Now, in Asia, particularly in China, street foods are consumed by the poor, although there were wealthy members of the society who would buy street foods and eat them on their way home.
Street food represents a part of urban food consumption for low and middle income consumers, especially in urban areas on a daily basis. Street foods may be the least expensive and most accessible means of obtaining a nutritionally balanced meal outside the home, provided that the consumer is informed and able to choose the proper combination of foods. In poor and developing countries, street food provides a regular source of income for millions of men and women with limited education or skills. In urban areas, street food vendors cluster around certain parks or streets of the cities. Beside their small carts, some vendors provide the shade of an umbrella or small plastic tables and stools. The vendors share the same characteristics no matter where they appear. They provide the cheapest possible food for their neighborhoods, provide meals for manual workers, take out side dishes for busy mothers, and snacks for everyone. In rural areas, the vendors wrap their specialties in banana leaves, newspaper, styrofoam trays, or plastic bags. The appropriate condiment, dipping sauce, or pickle will also be put in a small plastic bag and shut tightly with a rubber band, ready to be placed in a suitable serving dish at home. Even soup can be taken away in these very environmentally unfriendly plastic bags.
These days, street foods are available in food courts, in shopping malls, and other neighboring areas and spaces. Okay, these food courts are popular with tourists, but there are locals who use redeemable coupons and use them as cash to pay for a wide range of food from food vendors. Now, these food vendors use these coupons to pay a percentage to the food court owners to alleviate the expenses of rent. Now, to actually help, food critics from all over the world include food stalls and vendors in their published guides
such as the Shell Food Guide, to alert other travelers and locals of the best street foods available in a certain community or region. One of the great news for the street food industry was when Singapore's very own hawker centers was successfully inscribed as Singapore's first element on the UNESCO representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity in December 16, 2020. This hawker culture in Singapore is a living heritage shared by those people who actually prepare hawker foods and those who dine and mingle in community dining spaces called hawker centers. This specific culture reflects our multicultural diversity as a people and as a nation. And this definitely resonates among all Singaporeans across all races and across all social strata. It is the heart of everyday life in Singapore, like people from all walks of life gathered at hawker centers to dine and bond over food prepared by local hawkers. But it is not just the Singaporeans who are proud of their street foods. In 2016, two street vendors in Singapore named Hong Kong Soya Chicken Rice and Noodles and the Hill Street Taiwan Pork Noodle were among the 29 dining venues in the country to be featured in the Michelin Guide. These examples actually suggest that street food in Singapore is more than just a cultural staple. It also places the island city-state on the map when it comes to food.
Unfortunately, street food vendors in other ASEAN countries do not seem to enjoy the same support. In Bangkok, Ho Chi Minh, Jakarta, and even Manila, authorities announced the street food vendors would no longer be allowed on footpath, citing impeding pedestrians, having an unsightly appearance, and attracting vermin. The ban received a huge outcry from tourists and locals alike. Authorities forgot that many office workers buy street food and eat on the streets because it is cheap and convenient, and such street food serves as a glue that brings together people from all walks of life. Not only do street food vendors around the world fulfill the role of providing cheap and flavorful food for locals and tourists, but they also provide culture and history to a country, a group of people brought together by a love for delicious food. If the vendors disappear, hungry customers may find somewhere else to eat, but they will also struggle to find a community as valuable as the one provided by this historically undervalued form of cuisine.